Look at you now.
Yeah, I should probably hit the record
Okay.
button as well.
That would be pretty damn awesome. So
Yeah. So what's going on, Rob?
nothing. What's going on, Alex?
Uh, I switched to Linux and I managed to get all this back together again.
Yes.
I
That's the
feel real good about that.
the first step of world domination.
I know, right?
Oh man, so I was listening to a I don't really I like podcasts. Obviously, I'm doing one with you,
Yeah.
but I was recently listening to one, and it really just makes you feel like an amateur. I'm sitting there listening to it. I mean,
We are.
they're 900 and some episodes in. They're on all the platforms. They're just they got sponsorship. And I'm sitting there like, damn. But then again, if you go way, 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 way back down and you look at their early stuff, I mean, they were kind of just like what we were doing. So I
Yeah.
guess I don't feel that bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There is some screen tearing in the broadcast over your face.
Okay.
Hold up.
Oh my God.
We're going to close those. Does that make it better? It did. Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah. Weird
Anyway.
little technical difficulty I've never experienced before. What the fuck?
Anyway, so I'm back in Myrtle Beach. Thank the Lord.
Yeah. Nothing's broke. That's good news.
Nothing. I still technically didn't go to storage yet, but but honestly, driving around the Myrtle Beach is kind of like, why did I even evacuate? Now, with that said,
Better to be safe.
yeah, well, there's some shit still going on. So obviously, I got evacuated in case people don't know because of the hurricane. The hurricane was supposed to hit directly in Myrtle Beach, but it made a little bit of a turn and it hit Wilmington, which is about an hour away from me. It destroyed Wilmington. Um, yeah,
Huh.
South Carolina. I say it like that because as much as I love the food and people in Maryland, I wanted to be here. I wanted to be home. I didn't want to. That was like an unexpected trip, so I wasn't mentally prepared to come up north,
Yeah.
and it just kind of like, ugh, it just kind of
Yeah.
sucked for a second. But anyway, so we finally came back home. We had to take detours because 95 was closed, Route 40 was closed.
Because they
And I
were
saw
underwater.
Yeah, and we saw some shit, some sad stuff, and it really puts things in perspective. Like, Mother Nature is a bitch.
Yeah.
Like you see stuff on video. You watch news when you're young with Katrina, and then Sandy. Was it Sandy? Yeah, Hurricane Sandy in New
Yeah.
York. You're kind of like, oh, hurricanes are bad, but they're not too bad. But man, I saw some stuff, and it's kind of sad. Like local churches or just have like pallets of water when we're driving by because there's still towns with no power. There's dead animals in the road. And they look fine, but they're like normal animals, like dogs, cats. There was some deer, raccoons, things like that, and that's just it's pretty sad. Myrtle Beach is okay though. Conway, which is the town
When
right
did you
next
get
to me.
home?
When did I get home? When did I get home? Saturday. Got home a Saturday at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
We left at 6 o'clock, so it took about 12 hours.
All
We
things
stopped.
considered, you didn't make bad time.
No, no. But Conway though, the city right next to us,
Uh huh.
dude, they're still having. See, most of all the rain went down in North Carolina, not too much in Myrtle Beach, so that's good. But the rivers that lead from North Carolina go down south to South Carolina, which goes down to two main rivers in Myrtle Beach that connects to the ocean. And those rivers they've already rose 25 feet and they're still going. And it's been 2 weeks.
There's been so much rain and shit in the watershed that, yeah, no, it's gonna keep going. In fact, it's is it still raining down there? Because it only broke raining here tonight.
um, it just started raining today. The forecast says, believe this shit. So Florence, the hurricane, hit us, went all the way around like a curveball, then went back out to sea. Now it's not really a hurricane anymore, so they don't really call it. It's just a little tropical depression. So they
Yeah.
didn't even. It's lost its name, but now it's coming back and it's hitting us again, the same spot. Like I was, just,
The
I was
same
just like
storm system is coming back a
this.
second time.
Yeah, yeah. But like they said, it's nothing to worry about because it's just rain. But I'm like, the rivers are rising. You're telling me it's just rain? So I just feel like Mother Nature is pissed. Something's going on. The whole climate control thing. Something's going on,
Climate
and it
control?
climate control. I mean,
Climate change.
climate change. Yes, something is definitely going on, and it's really starting to fuck. I mean, it's fucking us right now. I mean,
Yeah.
I just
And unfortunately, I think there's going to be a lot more devastation before the U.S. decides to do anything about it.
well, let me. I don't know too much about FEMA. I kind of know a little bit about it, but let me tell you a quick story that someone just told me. So one of my good friends, his name's Ryan Testerman. He has a girlfriend that lives in Wilmington. She didn't evacuate because she works for the state of North Carolina. So she decided to stay. She was a government person. I don't know what she does. I think she does HR or something. So she decided to stay with a group of people. So Wilmington got hit the hardest. So a tree fell on her house. She just bought a house. So a tree fell on her house. Water came up, I think, about 4 feet into her house, and it literally picked up the house and moved it 2 feet to the left. And now she has foundation problems. So she says the water receded, so she's looking at the mess and stuff, and she's just like, it's destroyed. So FEMA came out, and I think they give. I didn't know this, but they give like 75% um, of what your items are worth. They'll give it
Yeah.
back to you.
Hmm.
So she bought her house, I think, for 175, and she's gonna get FEMA's giving her 125, something like that. And and I'm sitting there like, but what happens to the rest of your debt that you like when you
Yeah.
buy a house, you're in debt for that amount of money, and you start paying off on it. So to me, it's like, what the hell? Some weird noises in here. Um, so
They're expecting you to have paid for what, 7.5 years already?
yeah, so
They're
I don't know
straddling
now.
you with 7.5 years of debt. Up
Well,
to.
just like,
Your
I mean,
insurance should cover the rest of it, honestly.
well, that's what she has. He told me that she has an insurance company coming out, but it's just like one of those things where,
Well, at that point, and if they cover the full thing, they're covering the full thing. And she's just getting that government money as a like damages stipend.
yeah. Well, all right. Well, where's this money come from, by the way? Because she's just one person. So imagine FEMA going through a whole town, and they
So
still haven't even hit South Carolina. I don't know that much about FEMA, so
so that money comes from the annual FEMA budget, which was actually just decreased before Florence hit, coincidentally. Um,
wow.
but yeah, like, are you fucking serious? It's hurricane season. Now you're decreasing the spending power of FEMA? What is wrong with you?
Who made that call? Who decreased it?
That's the Senate. I think
Okay.
it's the Senate is in charge of budgets. Um,
So he was trying to save some money there instead of doing all the other stuff
they've routed that money to ICE
Nice.
so we could increase the DOJ's FEMA camps for the illegal immigrants that they're detaining for months and weeks on end without due process.
Okay. And the president says that's okay. Like,
The president has literally no authority to veto that. Actually,
really?
this is
Really?
what the Senate did. Yeah, he doesn't have. You now, for the record, he can like recommend this or ask that they do this, and he did. That's what caused this. That's what drove this change. But he has no authority. The Senate's going to do what the Senate's going to do. The Senate just happened to agree with him.
It's just all right. So you, like you said before, this is hurricane season. So this is just the first hurricane. It's still hurricane season for 2 or 3 more weeks. So
There were like 5 in the
yeah.
ocean.
And what's going on? Like, so Houston got more flooding. Everything happened to us in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
That's this is over $1 billion. I'm telling you right now. The damage in
Oh
North
yeah.
and South Carolina is just billion. So that's not including what's going on in Houston. So and then Hawaii. Hawaii's been hit twice with 2 hurricanes. Then they had. Does FEMA get dispatched for anything else besides hurricanes?
Yeah. Oh God,
Or
yeah.
like,
No,
see,
any kind
I
of
don't.
environmental disaster like that. Uh,
So when the volcanoes
Earthquakes,
went off,
volcanoes, any sort of natural crisis, for the most part, they're on the way.
well, I just this is a lot of money. I just don't know. I mean, luckily, we live in a world. One thing that I did notice down here, and it's all over the computers and internets, and it's all over. It's all. I sound really old when I say that. The computers and the internets.
Yeah.
It's all over the news too. One of the things I think is great is the how communities help out each other more than FEMA does. How our government is not really they're putting band-aids, which is great. They, oh no, thank you for the band-aids. That's awesome. But you got local churches up in Charlotte, farther up north,
They
Tennessee,
can't
all
handle
the
the bandwidth. If you
and
put
they're
all of the individual community charities together and everything they did, all the monetary impact that occurred from those private organizations and non FEMA organizations, they pale in comparison to what FEMA did without that insurance stipend.
okay.
Rehousing people, feeding people, keeping them from dying, medical care, regrouping families together, all that work. And again, that's without the insurance stipend. Those private communities do not have the bandwidth to come even close to touching. We still need all that extra help, and it does come, thank God. But uh, if FEMA went away, a lot more people would be dead right now. And as a consequence of every major disaster to occur like that.
So FEMA's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no,
They're
I
net
don't want you to,
positive, I'll say. They're
well, I don't want you to think
stupid. Don't
I
get me
don't I
wrong.
don't yeah, I don't want you to think that I'm like, oh, FEMA sucks. FEMA sucks. Obviously, they are good. I don't know too much about FEMA because, like, I don't politics and things like that. And
Yeah.
government I try to stay out of. But and honestly, it's one of those things where it's like you don't go to a dentist until your teeth hurts, so you don't really know about FEMA until you need it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And policy wonks will get up in the nuts and bolts every once in a while,
yeah,
but they won't check up on it unless unless it's needed or there's an update to one of the policies or whatever. That's when, like, we're paying you to be prepared and to be able to handle this situation. You better be ready when the situation comes up. So we kind of like test and audit them on the fly, and
yeah.
the appropriateness of their response is definitely felt in the public. Like they didn't do shit for Sandy correctly. People are still fucked by Sandy. That's a fact.
I mean, look at Katrina. They were fucked for years.
People are still fucked from that.
Yeah.
It's just
So,
there's a lot of mismanagement that occurs. There's a lot of problems that I'm not going to say they create for people, but they exacerbate hard. There are some cases where they do create problems, but the net is positive, hard positive.
okay. Well, while FEMA was here, because they were, I actually see their trucks when I pulled in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now I did get a chance to. Well, I didn't see Donald Trump here. I was still in Maryland when he came down, but I did see on TV that he did come down here, which I think it was a smart move as a president. I mean, you have to. I mean, it's something
Yeah.
happened. You need to be here. This is voters for him are here. Not that I voted, but voters for him are here, so he needs to be here, especially if he wants to run again.
Yeah.
But but you know, and I'm guilty of this too. But during this whole hurricane thing and stuff, you start seeing things like, oh, well, this is what past presidents did, and he's not really doing that, and he's just kind of like the things he says are just not sympathetic. They're just more of like,
He,
oh, I'm sorry. Like,
he's an abrasive dick.
yeah, and it's just kind of it's kind of hard. Like, no matter, I mean, I understand you're a New Yorker. I understand that you are a businessman. I understand you're straightforward, and that's fine. But you have to have. I mean, there's people that die. There's people that are still dying right now. It's like,
Oh
you're
yeah.
not really sympathetic about it, and he didn't really say too much about it. I didn't see a press conference saying, like, because
Oh, but he popped off on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what he does. This is one of those things where it's like, I understand the world that we live in. Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff is great, but when Katrina happened, Bush still got on TV. When Sandy happened and all the other even shootings and things like that, other presidents really just, you know,
Stood up and
they,
led.
yeah, and he's just kind of like, I feel like when he was here, he handed out food to people. I think it was like hot dogs and some other stuff. He shook people's hand. He did give, and I understand South Carolina is a Republican state. He's Republican, and I mean, I know he was happy to see him.
He's
The
Republican.
look, the look on North Carolina isn't. They're Democrats, so the look on his face was hilarious when Donald Trump was handing out hot dogs. I
Just
think I think if I find a picture, I'll post it on
do it.
But yeah, the look on his face is like, really?
I got to be doing this shit.
Yeah, really? There's no relish. What the fuck? But
I just, the man's a clown.
like, it's very like, okay. I try my best to really stay out of this, and I know every president does some crazy shit. They do some things that people don't like. George Bush got blowjobs. George,
That was
yeah.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. George Bush, he was just I don't know. He sounded like he was a stoner back in the day, so he was just kind
He
of like,
was.
he was kind of like brain dead already. But
That deer in
then
headlights.
even Obama wasn't innocent. Obama was just kind of like,
Let's increase the killing of innocents in countries that we're not at war with.
yeah, like, So there's some things, but I really stayed out of it. But recently, it's just the way he handled this. Like, he didn't really. Did he go to Hawaii when they got hit by hurricanes? Hawaii means a lot to me. I
Or
used to
the
live there.
volcano.
Or the volcano. No. Did he go to Houston? I don't even know if he went to Houston.
I don't think he did.
No. I mean, so.
Because he's
Isn't-
so embroiled in scandal. The news that he's making is in relation to everyone attached to the Mueller probe, the Stormy Daniels nonsense, and his Supreme Court pick right now.
Well, here's a thought.
Fuck him.
So he's starting to try to get ready for his new campaign, right?
he never stopped campaigning.
Yeah. So, well, I feel like I don't see. What is Texas? Is that a Republican state or Democrat?
It's hard red. That's Republican as
Right,
shit.
Okay. That's what I figured. Both Bushes were there.
Yeah, WNHW. Jeb came
Yeah.
from there, but became governor of Florida, and wanted to declare that he was Hispanic on his census form because he married a Hispanic woman.
Well, I even think some Republicans fucking hate Donald Trump.
50% of them.
Yeah, and probably all of them are in Texas. So it's just weird to me
Yeah.
that, like, he didn't go to these other places, or other things were happening. There was a school shooting. I had to be there. If I was a president and I knew people fucking hated me, maybe I need to prove to them. And I hate to say it,
Better
'cause I have to-
optics.
the thing is, I know he has so much on his plate. I know he has so much to do. Whatever, that's great. But you're still 25% of your work.
Of your
whole-
duties
of
is
duties.
making us look good.
Yeah, and you need to be personable. You need, okay. I know. Yeah, I know you didn't vote for me, but I don't care. I'm here. There was a shooting at a gay nightclub.
Yeah,
I think while he was a president, he didn't say shit about that. Oh, I'm sorry. There was a tragedy on Twitter. But like,
that happened under Obama, actually,
oh,
and he did speak out about it.
okay. Well, damn.
It was during the presidential race,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was
But
just.
yeah. But no, did Obama go there?
I don't think he.
Look,
No, wait. Yeah. Yes. Obama.
I know he went to school. There was a school shooting, a high school shooting, I
Yeah.
think, in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. Stoneman Douglas. God damn, it's hard to keep track of this shit.
Well, it's like one of those things where even if just show your presence, show that you're there. Like, talk to family members, be like, I'm sorry this happened to you, and then, but he doesn't try. It's okay. He's a businessman. He doesn't really care about us. He cares about his business, which is telling China that we're not trading with them anymore, right? Something like that.
Increasing Chinese tariffs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Chinese imported goods are catching a 25% tax hike, right? For arriving here. You have to pay
Oh,
25% of their value. Uh,
okay.
it's and
Well, he's trying
they're
to increase. He's trying to get us more money, but the problem is China is going to withhold product from us.
uh, and respond in kind as well. Uh,
Yeah.
Canada responded exactly in kind, and raised us the same percentage numbers, and literally said, "Tit for tat's not cool, man. Like, just what are you doing? We're net neutral again. I can do this all day. Why are you doing this?
Mm.
Your people are being hurt by this. This is hurting your consumers. Why are you doing this?" And they're not wrong. But he wants to keep trying to engage in these trade wars to be brutish and like intimidate people into compliance with his trade policies. But it's not working. They don't care. They're like, I'll do the
Do
same
you,
thing to you. Fuck off.
I mean, so this actually, I know we switched topics pretty much, but this actually there's a thought that I always had and I never understood about the United States, and this kind of goes along what you're saying. Basically, so he's doing all this, and say if he loses the next election, which is a good chance, so the next president's got to back up and try to fix things, try to do things a different way. Do you think 4 years isn't enough? Do you think that a minimum term should be 8 years and then go and do it again, or do you think every 4 years we should vote on a new leader of our country?
Oh man, 4 years. Yeah, and hard 2 term limit. Hard. Keep
Yeah,
that post rotating as hard and as fast as possible.
because honestly, like if I, I've never been in that, obviously I've never been in that thing, but if I say I put myself in a situation where, you know, I'm just got hired to be the president of a company, and they're looking at me, and this company's huge, billion-dollar company, and they're telling me that I have 2 years to get this thing fixed from all the problems and rehire new people, do all this other stuff, and make sure everything's good. Now that's just me, like, obviously it's 4 years for presidency, 2 years for this, so it's just one of those things where it's like, do I have enough time? And then
Yeah.
after 2 years, there's a chance then at the second half of the second year, I got to worry about reelection. So I got to stop what I'm doing to try to fix everything and worry about trying to sell myself again, so people will let me do it another 2 years. So now he's got technically 3 years to kind of do everything to damage us.
He's got like 2 years left.
Yeah, and it's like
Wait, no.
well, whatever time he has, minus 8 months, because that's how he's probably focusing on his election, traveling around the world, saying, vote for me
Yeah,
again."
yeah. He's got 2 years left because the election's coming up in 2020. It's 2018. Jesus Christ, this is the
Yeah, so
midterms.
I've never agreed. Now, I'm not saying we have just one dictator, like a queen or a king or a prime minister or whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying we have that. I do like the voting, and I do like the both sides from what I do know about politics. I just feel like it should be longer than 4 years. If not 8 years, then six at the lowest. But it should be longer than 4 years.
There, the 4 year line is expressly uh, a limit on how much damage they can do. And Trump is actually the legitimate use case of it. He's a perfect example of why it should be four and limited to 2 terms to keep that contained. Uh, because if you have to go back and fix everything, then at that point, you only want so much damage to have occurred, and 4 years is a good containing point while also granting the power to actually have legitimacy in your authority during that period and to actually accomplish things. It was very specifically fought over. 6 was the other popular candidate, actually,
See, I like
when that was
6.
being drafted.
I feel like we need to, I don't know, because
Grant a little more time.
just a little bit more time. Because okay, so
That's what the second term is for, though.
if you win though, if you don't, then it's a new other old person, and it's like
And then
okay,
they've
so,
wrought enough damage that the American public have said they've had enough.
yeah.
That's like the critical difference there. Is if you're getting voted out of office at the 4 year mark, it's because you have done things so poorly that the American people don't want you there. They'd rather gamble and get a new guy.
See what you're saying. So you're saying that like the 4 years, obviously, the 4 years might not be enough time, but it also allows us as Americans to see what the hell is going on, and instead of waiting 6 years, in 4 years, we can say, okay, let's just get you out of here and get the right person in here.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's a specifically designed limit on power in case of Trump.
yeah.
Effectively, a hated, hugely maligned president who's actively doing damage. Don't get me wrong, there are some policies he has that are fantastic, but you can say that about any president. I mean, FDR did the internment camps, but he also saw us through the war. God damn it. And he had 3 terms. And
Well,
good and bad with everybody, but like nobody's
Here's-
done active damage though.
well, here's a question for you. Do you think if Donald Trump was president 10 years ago, he'd be different than he is now? Do you think it's not, sometimes it's not always who the president is, it's the timing of that president? Because if you look back in history, John F. Kennedy, he was, he is he's known for one of the best presidents that we've ever had. But yet he had a lot of flaws, but he was the president at a right time when there was really not much. There was some stuff going on, but he was the president when
Yeah.
we were doing innovation, going to the moon, when we were doing a whole bunch of other
He
different
was an
things.
innovator in a time that needed innovation.
Yeah, so he was placed in the perfect time. But do you think
Yeah.
if Donald Trump would have ran in the 90s,
early
2000s,
90s.
yeah, or
Early
90s,
90s.
yeah, do you think he would, if he would have became president, he would have did a better job?
I think he'd be far less insane. I think his actions would be within the Overton window at that point in time, which is to say they would be within the realm of socially acceptable. Some of them,
I
like
think,
dating my daughter, absolutely not. But
oh yeah,
we just go, oh, that's Trump, and like ha ha ha, and move on. But like he's not within the realm of acceptable anymore.
I
And
think
he's like 20 years late.
I think one of the things that harms him the most as president, and I think it's gonna be like this for any president, is the presence of social media. Everything you've done in your life, everything that you're going to do in your life, is all on social media. If he was president in the 90s, there was no social media. A lot of people didn't know who he was. He wasn't on TV already. He
Well, they
wasn't
just
on
knew he
the-
was a rich businessman.
Yeah, so if he somehow would have won the presidency, it would have been different. Like right now, if you would have took
Oh yeah.
JFK and made him president now, you would see that he was having an affair with another woman. You would see that he was doing some
Engaging in crazy mafioso shit during his
yeah.
college years.
Yeah, so you would know all these things. Like George Bush kind of got a taste of it because you saw his past when he did drugs in Texas, when he was like, "I love cocaine." Like you
Oh
kind of
yeah.
you kind of saw it, but you kind of got away from it because the way he handled 9/11 was, I think, was pretty okay. I'm not a George Bush lover, but he did okay
Do
for a
we
situation
want
like
to
that. I mean,
hit the button? Call
hit the button.
time real fast.
Yeah, let's call time.
Okay.
Real quick on that note. Happy what is it? What is it? Registration of voter today.
Voter registration day.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, register now to vote. Go to your appropriate government website and become one of the slaves.
Real quick,
Engage in the cycle.
Before you hit stop, what party did you register? What party are you under?
I'm indie. And fuck parties. If when libertarian.
Okay. Very good.
Ma.